Hi, thanks for checking out our channel here. This is going to be a little show and tell test video on a Cyclops Master. This is their second to largest fence charger that they sell and make. The next size bigger is called the Boss model. But all the Cyclops models are all the same physical size. They're just, the guts are different to make one weaker or smaller. So manufacturing wise, it's pretty smart to do. Use one case and just swap the guts out to make one unit bigger or smaller, power wise. But there's our information right there. So if you got a Cyclops fence charger or any other brand and model, we work on all brands and ages of electric fence chargers. And we also work on the scales and stuff for like weighing livestock. Gallagher and True Test are the two that we work on more than anything, because they're the most common ones that are out there at the feed stores and stuff. But so if you know somebody that uses those and has one that's not working right, or you deal with 4-H or FFA, maybe a program that uses scales for weighing show pigs or show calves for like their county fair or whatever, and they got a set of scales that aren't working right, hit us up. Let's take a look at those, and we'll be happy to look at that. And cattlescalerepair.com is a website for that. There are links in the description below that will you click on. You can take you right to the website without having to type it in. But we'll plug this in. It's a pretty stout unit, man. It's a 20 output joules. It's a 27 stored. It's a pretty beefy unit. What we did to this one is the fuse mount on the left hand side, which the guy called the ground side, but it is actually ties into your AC. It's on the power side. You can see the power cord. There's a little circuit board inside there that this fuse is part of in line, and we replaced that with one of ours. They have a kind of a push and turn style in there. He didn't like that. It sounded like it was always a little loose, wouldn't stay in place. So we put one of ours in there, which is a threaded cap. You actually got to turn it out a handful of turns to get it on there, and we had to make the hole bigger on the case to get that in there and make it stay, so that way it fits. And we did the same thing on the right hand side. That one was fine, but he said, man, while you got it, go ahead and change that fuse mount out as well. So we changed that one out to our threaded cap type versus the push and turn type. So you gotta get that thing this right. Come on, get on there. There it goes. I think it's on there right. It looks kind of funny. Come on, get on there. There it goes. Didn't want to cross thread it. Well, it says 5 ground rods minimum. You can send it to them or you can send it to me, but there's a little troubleshooting deal they have on there. So yeah, Taylor Fence, it's an American-made product. The Cyclops fence starter all made here in the States, down in Alabama. Pretty reliable for the most part. Don't see too many of them come in. They do come in, but they usually got some age on them, 5, 8, 10, 15 years old, that sort of thing. There are benefits of their brand, and there are some negatives, I guess. The negatives aren't that bad. They're just quirky things. I'll tell you about those. Now, the good thing about them is, they're relatively, for the quality that you're getting, they're pretty reliable, and the cost isn't too bad. I mean, they're not cheap. I mean, this thing's probably $600, give or take, $700, give or take. I'm not sure what these Masters go for these days, but you're getting 20 joules, and you're getting a reliable unit for the most part. You look at the speed right, like look at the comparable speed right to this one would be like an 18,000i, and it's $1,000 or more. You have a remote control capable unit, that sort of thing. So that's kind of nice. But then you look at some of the cheap ones, like a Zariba, 200 miles, a 15 output joules, about $400 for it. Not near as reliable as Cyclops units are. I think there's a website, cyclopsfence.com. They're an online distributor for them. So that's a place. I'll maybe put a link down below. You can click on that and go to their website. We don't get no kickback from them, so don't think we're getting sponsored or something from them. There's just an online store that sells them. But there's also local stores, also feed stores out there that sell them. I think if you go to taylorfence.com is a website. You can go there. You can go there and do a search on for your local dealers. Just put your zip code in or whatever, and you'll see where the nearest dealer is for you. So you can always buy them local. They're not widespread. Like, you're not going to find them on Tractor Supply. You're not going to find them in every feed store across the United States. Like, they're built in Alabama, so a lot of states in that general area sell them. But you can find them online, and don't always go the biggest unit. That yeah, it's not $700 give or take for 20 joules. It's a lot of money to start with, but it's a lot of power at the same time. But they got 8 joule units, they got 5 joule units, 10, 12 joule units that are just stout enough for, for most applications. If you got like 500-600 acres, yeah, you probably want 20 plus joule unit. But if you got 40 acres to 300 acres, 8, 9, 10, 15 joule unit output would be more than sufficient for most of average size things. Just because you can afford to buy a 20 joule Cyclops for $500-$700, just because you can afford to buy it doesn't mean you should buy it. You can probably get by with a Super or the Brute or the Champ model. They got some small ones as well. The Cyclops Hero and the Cyclops Stallion. Those are 2 smaller units, like 1 joule to 1 to 1/2 joule to like 3 joule or something like that on the small ones. 1/2 joule to 3 joule on the small ones. So they do good for small areas as well. Maybe 10 acres or 15 acres or a little garden or whatever, backyard deal. Now the downside to some of their stuff is this is a black case version. This was kind of a special oddball. Special edition kind of thing. They made it from like 2020, 2021. Made it kind of a certain amount of them that were black cased, but most of them were red. I kind of like the black case look, kind of a sinister look to it, kind of a neat looking black case to it. The downside of them is I don't know about these black case versions, but the red ones, you get a little age on them. They're in a hot building or a hot room or where sunlight can directly affect them. Over time, the plastic fades and cracks. They have a lot of UV protection in their red cases. The black ones might do better because they're black case, and black, maybe absorbs the heat a little bit better and maybe not crack as often. But they don't crack right away. You gotta get them a few years. Or if you got it in direct sunlight, yeah, it's going to go a lot faster, and over time they'll crack and break the case or crack. Now they don't have any gaskets on the cases. No AC unit that's straight AC is made to be outside. So you got to protect them if they're outside. You got to build a box for them, put them in a shelter of some sort, keep the weather off of them. They do make a bunch of 12-volt models. I think the Cyclops Super, it's like a 12 output joule unit. That's the biggest 12-volt one they make. Pretty stout unit for 12 volts. And then they make small ones in 12 volt as well. So, let's plug this unit in. There it is. Got a single light that flashes on the front. It is a little slower of a pulse. I got another unit back here clicking along, a little Zariba 50 mile unit. You can help me turn it off real quick. Hear that one clicking and flashing? Or clicking? Now let's turn this one back on. See, it's just a little bit slower. We'll turn the other one back on so you can kind of hear the difference. See, some uses flash click along a little faster. This one's just a little bit slower. Not by a lot, like a 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds slower maybe. I don't know what the actual difference is, but pretty reliable units. I mean, we get them in from time to time, but they usually got a little age on them, 5-10 years. We'll get some in that are about that age, 5 to 10 years old, 10, 15 years old sometimes. Don't get a lot of them in, but they do come in from time to time. I do have a little troubleshooting thing on there. It does say that the left-hand fuse is a 1/2 amp, and the right-hand fuse, fence fuse on the right-hand side is a 2 amp fuse. So a little troubleshooting thing for you. That's what they have on there. They have it on their website as well, but that's a little quick little guide for it. It does require about 5 ground rods minimum. So that's minimum. You could have 8, 9, 10 ground rods out there, but the bigger the joule unit is, the better the ground system's got to be. So you want them about 10 foot apart. Galvanized rods, what they recommend. Well, most brands recommend go copper if you want, but galvanized will seem to do a lot better long term than copper does. And then some galvanized ground rod clamps and leftover fence, steel fence wire works fine to tie the rods together. But that's it. So if you got a Cyclops Master or any other model of Cyclops or any other brand or model, welcome to send it in here to us for us to look at. We'd be happy to take a peek at it. And the information, again, like I said, there's links down below in the description area. So until next time, see you guys later on, and have a good rest of your day.